Hey, everybody, how you doing? Well, that's good. Welcome to PHLY Flyers Pregame, presented by Bet365. Download the Bet365 app. Use code PHLY365 when you sign up. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. My name is Bill Matz. I'm your director of fun and games for the evening, and we have it here. The Flyers tour of the New York metropolitan area continues tonight. Flyers visiting the Rangers in Madison Square Garden. Charlie O'Connor will be joining us live from New York on Thursday night. He'll be joining us live from Madison Square Garden for postgame, and Steve Jaco will be here for postgame as well. But for pregame, it's all me, baby. That's right. And we start with, I don't know, some of the greatest news we've had all season. It was announced shortly after yesterday's show, because of course it was, that Aleksei Kolosov and Olle Lycksell are heading to the AHL. More on Kolosov in a minute. But they have recalled Anthony Richard. The chat can rejoice. Tony Dick is home, baby. That's right. We have the Flyers have brought back Anthony Richard from Lehigh Valley, and everyone's got to be at least a little excited about this, right? He's a fun player to watch. A ton of speed, and you replace that element of Ryan Poehling in the lineup. And honestly, he created more offense in his short tenure here with the Flyers earlier in the season than Olle Lycksell was able to in his tryout. Now, listen, him getting fourth line minutes, and he's shown that he's like a point-a-game player in the AHL. But to this point, Olle Lycksell hasn't really shown an ability to stick up with the big club. Gotta believe this means Scott Laughton is back, perhaps. We'll see about that tonight. We do have some lines from Morning Skate. Charlie tweeted out earlier today. Yeah, that's we have. So no, it's interesting. We'll see how it goes. But it's Frost with Tippett and TK. That stays the same. Cates Forster Brink stays the same. Coots with Farabee and Michkov still together, and Richard, Bowles, and Hathaway. So we will see how that goes, if Scott Laughton is back or if he is still dealing with the personal issue. Defense remains the same as well. York Sanheim, Zamula Risto, and Sealer Drysdale. You would like to have Scott Laughton in the lineup for these. It's interesting, man. These Metro Division games with these teams that are all kind of in the same spot. You want to win these games if you want to have a chance to make the playoffs. We've seen them beat the Devils, obviously quite a bit ahead of them in the standings. But we've seen them face off with the Islanders. They're going to have another with the Islanders tomorrow. And Charlie O'Connor just tweeted, Anthony Richard plays tonight. Flyers confirm Scott Laughton still hasn't rejoined the team. So they are still without Laughton for tonight's game against the New York Rangers. So yeah, it's gonna be Tony Dick, which is, listen, that's fun. I'd like to have Scott Laughton in the lineup. Obviously, we know what he brings from a leadership standpoint, but also, a good penalty killer, a good guy to have, a second center on the ice when you need to win a defensive zone faceoff or something. So they're without a pretty valuable player for a second straight game, but it is an opportunity for Anthony Richard to show off some of that speed, some of that offensive creativity we saw. I believe he had, 6 points in 7 games during his last time with the club, as I'm trying to get. Yeah, don't type in Tony Dick on Hockey Reference and expect that to show up. I can't believe, Hockey Reference, which combed at one point last season, I think, combed the entire internet for players' nicknames, and for Anthony Richard, they still just have Richie and not Tony Dick. Come on, Hockey Reference, come on. Yeah, Richard 2 goals, 4 assists in his 7 games with the Flyers earlier this year. So maybe we've seen this team struggle to create a little bit of offense. They were scoring at a pretty good clip. I've said they're right kind of in the top half of the league. I think tied for 12th last I checked in scoring, but the last few games they've played that really tight defense, and because of that, not able to create as much on the offensive end. We know what their strategy is quite a bit offensively. It's tight defense, create a turnover, get an odd man rush. Well, you're bringing in a player, ton of speed, and some offensive upside. So just bolstering the actual game plan a bit, perhaps, with Anthony Richard's recall. We also got word earlier that it will be Sam Ersson in net now, and the news with that is Aleksei Kolosov sent down to the AHL, and Kevin Kerr has reported, listen, he's at practice. He showed up, so not returning to Belarus, at least as of yet, is Aleksei Kolosov. Obviously, a thing to keep an eye on as we make our way through the rest of the season. But like we pointed out, yesterday and on previous shows, KHL season ends, I think, mid-March. Dynamo Minsk, the team that he had previously played for, Aleksei Kolosov, they have a couple of goalies, not exactly perhaps in the playoff hunt. So what is he really going back to if he were to go back? And with Four Nations coming up, it's like, dude, you weren't going to be playing anyway. You're the number 3, and in a couple of weeks, there's going to be 14 days of 0 games, so no one's going to be playing. If you want to get in, if you want to get your practice time in, actually factor into some games, continue to progress as the prospect you are, you have to accept the demotion. And at least as of now, it appears he has. But now we have Sam Ersson in net yet again, and we've talked. They are apparently going to be using Ers as the number 1. It's not going to be a time-sharing situation. It's not going to be a tandem situation. It's Ersson, clear-cut number 1, and Fedotov, number 2. And listen, that's the way it's going to be. They really like Sam Ersson. They want to give him a shot to see if he can be more than what he's been to this point in his career, see if he can recapture how good he was from November to February last season when he put up like a .930 over that time period. My issue is, this is the team's 8th game since January 9th. Ersson came back from his New Year's Eve injury on January 9th. This is going to be Ersson's 7th start in that time. The only game he hasn't started since coming back is the back end of a back-to-back against Columbus, that Columbus shootout loss that Fedotov started. That's the only one. And you look at the schedule going forward. So the Flyers, they're at the Islanders tomorrow. Got to believe that'll be Fedotov's game. Or is it a home game? I can't remember. Either way, they're playing the Islanders tomorrow. You got to believe that'll be a Fedotov game, back end of a back-to-back again. And then you look at this schedule. We'll see how much Fedotov plays. I actually was texting with Charlie about this earlier today, just kind of showing the schedule that they've played since Ersson came back from his last injury and the schedule they have leading up to Four Nations. That's going to be from January 9th up until the Four Nations break, I think, 16 games. Ers has already started. This will be number 7. And you look at what the schedule is. They have a couple of days off after tomorrow's game, then another back-to-back. So you figure, okay, that's one for Fedotov in that back-to-back. And then it's really not a ton of opportunity. Fedotov should get Friday, tomorrow, next Thursday, with Ersson getting tonight, Monday, and Wednesday. And after that, they have an every other day schedule to start February, and then they're off for 14 days. There's a potential for Ersson, the way they're using him right now, to start 13 out of 16 between returning from injury and the Four Nations break. Now, in my conversation with Charlie, or 13 out of 16, 14, in my conversation with Charlie, he thinks in that those 4 games leading up to the Four Nations in February, I bet you one of them goes to Fedotov. So that's going to be 12 out of 16 for Ersson. While I don't love the workload, and that's not how I would do it, it's pretty close. 1 out of 4 is pretty close for a backup with a true number 1. Now, we can argue whether we think Ersson is a true number 1. I don't see that in him. I see a guy who's better off with a lighter workload, but he is on a bit of a roll right now. 12 out of 16. It's not the end of the world. That's 3 out of 4. I would like to see it split up a little bit more. I wonder if it's going to be like Fedotov, one of those road games. They go to Utah, they go to Colorado. Maybe you don't want him like his first time, Fedotov, in that. I don't know what kind of what kind of elevation does Russia have. I have no idea if this would be a big deal for him or not. But maybe you don't want him playing like in the Mile High with the wind being the air being so much thinner and everything. So maybe he gets that Utah game. Then they come home for Washington and Pittsburgh. Those will, in all likelihood, both be Ersson games. So either 12 or 13 out of 16. I just think it's a little too much, but it's not quite as crazy as the pace Ersson was on last year when they just had to play him basically every game from the end of January through the end of the season. So we'll see if he's able to hold up to this workload. But it is Ersson tonight in net for our Philadelphia Flyers. And he's been on a roll. It's hard to argue with playing the hot hand when you are right here in a playoff race and the Rangers, one of the teams that you're competing with. I believe they're tied in the standings at this point. So we'll see if Ersson can keep it up tonight. And now let's get to the bets. That's right. This pregame pick segment is brought to you by Bet365. Use code PHLY365 when you sign up. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 or older and physically located in PA. If you or somebody you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. All right, so we have a couple of interesting ones tonight. I'm going to go with this game going to overtime, tied after regulation on Bet365. Yes is plus 300, 3-1. I was hoping for a little bit bigger number than that, but not always betting in this market. That's probably pretty normal. And this is kind of a their due sort of thing. The Rangers went to overtime in their second game of the season. That was October 12th, a 6-5 loss to Utah. And then they didn't play a game beyond regulation again until game 40. They went from the 12th of October to January 7th, having not played an overtime game. And then 5 of their last 8 games have gone to overtime or a shootout. They're in one of these roles right now, and we saw with the Flyers earlier this year, they had like an 8 out of 10 stretch go to overtime. The Flyers themselves have played beyond regulation 15 times, and they've played a total of 21 total one-goal games. The Flyers play close games. That's not even including like games that are a goal and then you tack on an empty netter and it's like, oh, they won 3-1. That was a one-goal game. But just games decided by one goal, 21, 15 have gone to overtime. Flyers 9-6 after regulation. Opposite of nice. But I'm liking this. I think this is a decent bet here. I was hoping for a little bit more of a payoff than plus 300, but I think there's a really good chance that this game goes to overtime. So we're going to bet on that tonight. And Cam York, anytime goal at plus 900. That's 9-1. Listen, I see some Tony Dick comments. He was not yet listed in the player market when I made the bets tonight, when I was looking through Bet365 to see. Absolutely, I would have put something on an Anthony Richard anytime goal, but not listed in the players market. So we're going to go with Cam York. He's got 3 career goals in 9 games against the Rangers. I don't know. His name's New York. His name's York. They're in New York. He hasn't scored a ton this year. Only 1 goal in his last 20 games. 2 goals since October 19th. He had 2 in the first 4 games of the season and only 2 since. He did score last week against the Islanders, but I feel like he's due. I'm looking at D-men to score a little bit this week. That's going to be my thing. We went with Zamula the other night. I told you Zamula and Risto were the same price. Risto ends up getting credited with that game winner. Maybe you want to look at, I think Sanheim and Drysdale are both 8-1. You have Sealer at, I think, 14. I think Zamula and Risto are 16 tonight, but I'm going to go with Cam York at plus 900. Anytime goal. Those are the bets for this evening. And just want to check out these standings for the time being. It's really crazy what's going on in the East. Yeah, so the The Flyers and Rangers both tied with 50 points. The Rangers do have a game in hand. They're 23-20-4. Flyers are 22-20-6. It's a 532 to 521 points percentage to the Rangers. Just a tad ahead of the Flyers, but for all intents and purposes, they are both 2 points out of the second wild card spot behind Ottawa. Columbus right there in that first spot with 53. This is such a close freaking race, and that's part of my part of the bet going into overtime as well. Is these teams are going to play close. These teams are going to play tight. They are going to squeeze every point out of every game, especially against each other as you can. Now, ideally, you win in regulation. It's a 4-point swing. That's what's best for both teams. That said, you get up or down by a goal, you're going to play conservatively. You're going to try to extend this thing because you don't want to be left with nothing in games against teams that you are directly competing with playoff spots for. So that's what I see happening tonight, and that's really what's going on with the Rangers. It's very interesting season for the Rangers. They started out on freaking fire. And we saw a lot of the same with the goaltending last year, even when Shesterkin wasn't there, wasn't playing to his ability last season. Jonathan Quick comes in. He's one of the best freaking goalies in the league. But you look at the Rangers start 12-4-1. Hard to start any better. And then the wheels really fell off, and there's all sorts of reasons for it. The team, in open rebellion against their general manager after the Barclay Goodrow situation, after the Jacob Trouba trade, all that stuff. And now they're kind of starting to find it a little bit. 7-1-3 in their last 11. They've been a ton better lately. So we will see what they're able to do against the Flyers tonight, which team shows up. Because when we saw them on Black Friday, that was really the midst of their worst stretch of the season in between these two really good runs that they're on. Now, listen, that's a ton of games that they were bad for. I mean, 4-15-0 to put them at 16-19-1 at the time. That's a really, really rough stretch, and that's the majority of the hockey they've played this year. So maybe that's who they are. But right now, they've been playing a little better. They just killed Ottawa the other night. It was 5 or 6-0 they won. And you always have to worry about Mika Zibanejad. He is the Flyers killer. 38 points in 46 games, 19 goals, 19 assists. Perfectly balanced, as Steve added to the outline earlier today. And I'm looking for this rivalry to really get going again. They haven't played them since Black Friday, but you're in this stretch of games right now where, other than Detroit the other night, it's all the New York metro area teams. It's the Islanders, it's the Devils, and the Rangers in here. And this is the thing when people talk about the Flyers-Rangers rivalry. They've never really both been good at the same time. They meet in the playoffs in 2014. Sure, Flyers didn't have much of a chance, especially with Steve Mason out the first couple of games of that series. But you think about the times both teams have made runs, the other was kind of down and out. We have to go back to 97 to see them meet in a playoff series prior to 2014, and that's the last-ditch Rangers trying to put together the senior citizens home from Edmonton a decade prior against the Legion of Doom. We're talking forever ago, almost 30 years ago at this point. The times that they've met in the playoffs, I'm hoping that this right now, I can't say they're finally both good at the same time. Neither team is good. But they are in direct competition with each other to get one of these wild card spots. They're in direct competition with each other to move up in the Metropolitan Division, and they're playing tonight. Maybe some of that, bad blood and the geographical proximity, maybe it all spills over. And I'm really looking forward to this one. And really, just looking ahead at the schedule, I'm seeing a tremendous opportunity, Brenna. Monday, Flyers Devils. That's the day after the NFC Championship. We have the opportunity to beat the hell out of Josh Harris teams twice after this weekend. So that's going to be a lot of fun. But we're looking at the Rangers tonight. Another understated Flyers rivalry that we're really hoping to get kicked off again, the way it was years ago. It's with those Montreal Canadiens. That's right. And if you want to be a part of that rivalry, get this thing going, see Hudson v. Michkov up close, you got to come to Montreal with us and Philly Sports Trips April 4th to the 7th. I cannot wait for this trip. Charlie is always telling us how much he loves Montreal. It's a trip he tries to take every year when the Flyers are there. Kelly says Montreal is one of her favorite cities in Canada. I've never been. We're all going, and you should be coming with us. All sorts of reasons to be joining us on this trip. First of all, Philly Sports Trips, second to none. They put on one hell of an event. There's going to be meet and greet with Brian Propp. There's going to be all sorts of pregame and activities that week for you to come party with us, hang out with us. All sorts of really fun stuff. And then, of course, the main event, Flyers, Habs, tickets to the game. You get round-trip airfare, hotel stay, tickets to the game, access to all the events. Why wouldn't you go to allphly.com right now and check out our trip to Montreal? Hit that events tab and honestly bookmark the events tab, because we're always doing really fun stuff. Watch parties, trips, all sorts of things going on. There's lots to check out right now on the events section of allphly.com, including that trip to Montreal. So come on out with us. You're going to have a good time. You know you will. You want to go. It's hockey in the Mecca, right? It's Montreal. It's the Habs. We've all always wanted to go there. If you've never been, here's your chance. If you love it, well, here's your chance to go back again. All right, so that is that part of the show where I have to sell you this trip to Montreal. Honestly, it's not even like me trying to do a sale job here. I can't wait to go. It's going to be really freaking fun. I think you're going to enjoy yourselves as well. But back to this game tonight. It's do we know? Trying to see who's in net. It's, I assume, Shesterkin for the Rangers, but it very well could be a John Quick game. Doesn't look like they put the same amount of effort into their social media, letting people know who's in for them as the Flyers do. But another thing that's been going on, Matt Rempe's been getting some. Matt Rempe has been getting some ice time for the Rangers. He scored the other night. You got to believe he'll be in. He's had some success against the Flyers. He scored that goal last year, and man, I know it's not someone you want in the lineup every night. It's not someone who we all think definitely has a place in the current NHL. But damn, do I miss Nick Delorier in a game like this where we could get some freaking fireworks going, have a good heavyweight bout. We saw those two fight last year, Rempe and Delorier, and it was I think it got voted the fight of the year on hockeyfights.com. It was a really good scrap, and I wish we had someone who could go toe-to-toe with him this time around. That's not the case, so we'll see if anyone steps up or if they just do the other strategy of, hey, every time Matt Rempe's on the ice, let's get a bunch of good players out there. Let's get one of our top two lines out and see if we can take advantage of having an inexperienced goon on the ice. Because really, that's what Rempe has been for quite a bit of his career. But you can't tell me. You see the Rangers. You see, okay, is Rempe in the lineup? If he is, I sure would like to have Delorier, but not the case tonight. Delorier still out injured. Part of the reason, I guess, we're getting this rotation in the fourth line now with Olle Lycksell going down. Now we have Anthony Richard up, and I'm excited, man. It's Flyers Rangers. I am looking forward to seeing this game really get going. And oh, that's right. Excellent point, Brenna. That is something else I need to tell you right now. It's Birds playoffs. That's right. Let's take advantage of this awesome run. If you have been waiting for a time to become an all PHLY diehard, now is that time. Limited time offer, $48 for the year. That comes down to like $4 a month if my math is right. 12 times 4. Yeah, pretty sure that's 48. Get all of the benefits of signing up to be a diehard. You get access to the Discord. You get everything on the website, all of the diehard level content. I'm always selling you on Charlie's stuff, but you look at the writers we have for every sport, man. It's an all-star cast, and you get all of it for the low price of $48. But act now. Who knows how long this playoff run is going to last? I have a pretty good idea. It's going to go to about President's Day if we're being honest. That's how long I expect it to go. But jump on this now because there are no guarantees that it sticks around. Really, really strong to, offer for the diehard access. All of our diehards love being diehards. Our renewal rate super high. You know why? Because people really, really dig the content and they dig all the extra stuff you get. Discount on events, discount on merch. Do it. Sign up to be a diehard. And plus all Charlie stuff, man. Like, what, you don't want to read Charlie O'Connor? Come on now. All right, Bryn, what kind of, I saw at least one. What kind of super chats do we have? All right, from our pal, Gary B. Says, F yeah, Tony Dick is back in the lineup. Anytime goal for him. Yeah, buddy. Listen, I would absolutely love, let's open up. Maybe they added it at the last second. I doubt it. But let's just take a quick look at the Bet365 player market for tonight's game to see if we can real quick add a Tony Dick anytime goal. I'm not seeing him. It's not looking good. It's not looking good, fam. No Anthony Richard listed for an anytime goal tonight on Bet365. If you can, wait around, maybe see it in game or something, but no one listed in the pregame Bet365 market for Anthony Richard, which is a bummer. Who doesn't want to bet on a Tony Dick goal? All right, what else do we have that I can talk to you about right now? The carnival. What is the date of the carnival, Brent? Yeah, anyway, so the Flyers Carnival is something we're going to be participating again. It's really hard for me not to call it Flyers Lives, Fight for Lives, because that's what it's always was when I was growing up. But it is the Flyers Charities Carnival, and it is February 23rd. And guess what? That's right. Charlie and I will be in the dunk tank once again. So make sure you go to the Flyers website, go to the Flyers Charities website, and get your tickets to the Flyers Charities Carnival. It is always an awesome party down there at the Wells Fargo Center. Chance to meet and greet with all the players. And we're going to be doing a show live from the Wells Fargo Center once again, as we did last year, until the time comes that they throw us in that dunk tank. Charlie and I were pretty good attractions last year. I got to find something to wear is my biggest issue right now. When we did the dunk tank a couple of years ago, I wore the infamous orange tux. And after getting my money's worth of that thing for years, it was my tux I wore to senior prom. It finally died in the dunk tank. And last year, the carnival was on St. Patty's. I wore a clover tux. And that thing, it was borderline inappropriate, honestly, what happened to that tux, the pants split. It wasn't a great sight. Charlie ended up having to do a little extra time in the tank because it's a family event and I can't be sitting there in my underwear. Anyway, so make sure you go check out. Who knows what'll happen this time? From Harry Houdini, will Bill wear the belt in the dunk tank? Man, I don't want to. How does leather and metal do in water typically? It's that'll be something we have to discuss. I don't want to ruin it is the problem. I don't know. We might have to come up with something else, Harry, because I'm not sure I'm ready for this belt to take a dunk in that. What is oddly warm Zamboni water, quite honestly. You expect it to be cold? No, and it's weird. But yeah, so that'll be that. Make sure you get your tickets so you can dunk Charlie and I. And that is just about all the time we have for you on PHLY Flyers Pregame, presented by Bet365. Download the Bet365 app and use code PHLY365 when you sign up. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Steve and I will be here for postgame. Make sure you tune in for that. All you got to do, follow us right here on the YouTube page. Hit that reminder bell so you never miss a live show. Follow us on Twitter at PHLY_Flyers. That's where I do all my in-game tweeting, so you're going to want to follow us there for my incredible takes, like the Captain Holt hot damn gif when something cool happens. And follow the podcast as well. Wherever you get those, just search PHLY Flyers. All right, that's it. We'll be back. Well, I'll be back along with Steve and Charlie when this game goes final, so make sure you're here. Until then, let's go Flyers.
We all silly like the mayor.